child. No need to show me out. It's not your manners I'm concerned about.
We merely pay you the respect we owe. But, Mother, why this hurry? Must you go?
Oh,
Must you?
I must. This house appalls me. No one in it will pay attention for a single minute. I take my leave, much vexed in spirit. I offer good advice, but you won't hear it. You all break in and chatter on and on. It's like a madhouse with the caper gone.
If you were just...
Girl, you talk too much, and I'm afraid you're far too saucy for a lady's maid. You break in everywhere and have your say.
But you see...
You, boy, grow more foolish every day. To think my grandson should be such a dunce. I've said it 100 times if I've said it once, that if you keep the course on which you've started, you'll leave your worthy father broken-hearted.
I think that...
And you. His sister seems so pure, so shy, so innocent, so demure. But you know what they say about still waters. I pity parents with secretive daughters.
Now, Mother.
And as for you, child, let me add that your behavior is extremely bad, and a poor example for these children, too. Their dear dead mother did far better than you. You're much too free with money, and I'm distressed to see you so elaborately dressed. When it's one's husband that one aims to please, what is no need for such costly fripperies?
Oh, madam, really?
You are her brother, sir, and I respect and love you. Yet if I were my son, this lady's good and pious spouse, I wouldn't make you welcome in this house.
Your man Tartuffe is full of holy speeches.
And practices precisely what he preaches. He's a fine man and should be listened to. I will not hear him mocked by fools like you.
Good God, do you expect me to submit to that carping hypocrite? Must we forgo all joys and satisfactions because that bigot censors all our actions?
Oh, to hear him talk, and he talks all the time, there's nothing one can do that's not a crime. He rails at everything, your dear Tartuffe.
Whatever he reproves deserves reproof. He's out to save your souls, and all of you must love him, as my son would have you do.
No, grandmother, I could never take to such a rascal, even for my father's sake. That's how I feel, and I shall not disassemble. His every action makes me seethe and tremble with helpless anger, and I have no doubt that he and I will shortly have it out.
Oh, surely it is a shame and a disgrace to see this man usurp the master's place. To see this beggar, who when first he came had not a shoe or shoestring to his name, so far forget himself that he behaves as if the house were his, and we his slaves.
Rubbish.
His man Laurent's the same, or worse. I'd not trust either with a penny purse.
I cannot speak for what his servants' morals may be, but his own great goodness I can guarantee. You all regard him with distaste and fear, because he tells you what you loathe to hear, condemns your sins and points out your moral flaws, and humbly strives to further heaven's cause.
If sin is all that bothers him, why is it he's so upset when folks drop in to visit? Is heaven so outraged by a social call that he must prophesy against us all? I'll tell you what I think. If you ask me, he's jealous of my mistress's company.
He's not alone, child, in complaining of all your promiscuous entertaining. In all of this, I'm sure there's nothing vicious, but why give people cause to be suspicious?
They need no cause. They'll talk in any case. Madam, this world would be a joyless place if, fearing what malicious tongues might say, we locked our doors and turned our friends away.
If there's talk against us, I know the source. It's Daphne and her little husband, of course.
All that is quite irrelevant. I doubt that anyone's more virtuous and devout than dear Aunt, and I'm informed that she condemns your mode of life most vehemently.
Oh, yes, she's strict, devout, and has no taint of worldliness. In short, she seems a saint. But it was time which taught her that disguise. She's thus because she can't be otherwise. Ever since her attractions could enthrall, she flounced and flirted and enjoyed it all. But now that they're no longer what they were, she quits a world which fast is quitting her, and wears a veil of virtue to conceal her bankrupt beauty and her lost appeal. That's what becomes of old coquettes today. Distressed when all their lovers fall away, they see no recourse but to play the prude, and so confer a style on solitude. Thereafter, they're severe with everyone, condemning all our actions, pardoning none, and claiming to be pure, austere, and zealous, when if truth were known, they're merely jealous, and cannot bear to see another know the pleasures time has forced them to forego.
That sort of talk is what you'd like to hear. Therefore, you'd have us all keep still, my dear. while Madame rattles on the livelong day. Meanwhile, I mean to have my say. I tell you that you're blessed to have Tartuffe, dwelling as my son's guest beneath this roof. That heaven hath sent him to forestall its path by leading you once more to its true path. That all he reprehends is reprehensible, and that you better heed him and be sensible. These parties, balls, and visits which you revel are nothing but inventions of the devil. Parties are the towers of Babylon, 'cause all the guests babble on without a pause. And now I'll tell a story which I think. I heard that laugh. I saw that wink. Go find your silly friends and laugh some more. I'm off. I'm going. Don't show me to the door. I leave this house much dismayed and vexed. I cannot say when I shall see you next. Don't stand there gaping into space. I'll slap some sense into that stupid face. Move, you slut.
I think I'll stay behind. I want no further piece of her mind. How that old woman...
Oh, she'd thank you for the woman, but I'm sure she'd find the old a little premature.
God, what a scene she made. And what a din. And how that man Tartuffe has taken her in.
Yes, but her son is even worse deceived. His folly must be seen to be believed. In late troubles he played an able part and served his king with wise and loyal heart, but he's quite lost his senses since he fell underneath Tartuffe's infatuating spell. He loves him as his brother, and his life, preferring him to mother, child, or wife, stuffs him with dainties till his guts distend, and when he belches, cries, "God bless you, friend." In short, he's mad. He worships him, he dotes his deeds, he marvels at his words he quotes, thinking each act a miracle, each word oracular as those that Moses heard. And Tartuffe, much pleased to find so easy a victim, has in 100 ways beguiled and tricked him, milked him of money, and with his permission established here a sort of inquisition. Even Laurent, his lackey, dares to give us arrogant advice on how to live. The other week, he tore a handkerchief to pieces because he found it pressed in a life of Jesus. He claimed it was a sin to juxtapose unholy vanities and holy prose.
You did well not to follow. She stood by the door and said verbatim what she said before. I saw my husband coming. I think I'd best go upstairs now and have a little rest.
I'll wait and greet him here. Then I must go. I've really only time to say hello.
Something about my sister's wedding, please. I think Tartuffe's against it, but he's been urging my father to withdraw his blessing. Now, as you know, I find that most distressing. Unless my sister and Molière can marry, my hopes to wed his sister will miscarry, and I am determined to...
He's coming!
Ah, brother, good day. Well, welcome back. I'm sorry I can't stay. How was the country? Blooming, I trust, and green?
Excuse me, brother, just one moment. Darwin! To put my mind at rest, I always learn the household news the moment I return. Has all been well these 2 days I've been gone? How's the family? What's been going on?
Your wife 2 days ago had a bad fever and a fierce headache which refused to leave her.
Ah. And Tartuffe?
Tartuffe? Why, he's round and red, bursting with health and excellently fed.
Poor fellow.
The other night, your mistress was unable to take a single bite at the dinner table. Her headache pains, she said, were simply hellish.
Ah. And Tartuffe?
He ate his meal with relish and zealously devoured in her presence a leg of mutton and a brace of pheasants.
Poor fellow.
Her headache pains, she said, continued strong, and so she tossed and tossed the whole night long, now icy cold, now burning like a flame. We sat beside her bed till morning came.
Ah. And Tartuffe?
Having eaten, he rose and sought his room, already in a doze, curled up in a blanket and snored away in perfect peace until the break of day.
Poor fellow.
After much ado, we talked her into dispatching someone for the doctor. He bled her, and the fever quickly fell.
And Tartuffe?
He bore it very well. To keep his cheerfulness at any cost and make up for the blood Madame had lost, he drank at lunch 4 beakers full of port.
Poor fellow.
Both are doing well, in short. I'll go and tell Madame that you've expressed keen sympathy and anxious interest.
That girl was laughing in your face. And though I've no means to offend you, even so, I have to say she had some excuse. How can you possibly be such a goose? Are you so blinded by this man's hocus pocus that all the world save him is out of focus? You've given him clothing, shelter, food, and care. Why must you also...
Brother, stop right there. You do not know the man of whom you speak.
I grant you that, but my judgment's not so weak. That I can't tell by his effect on others.
When you meet him, you two will be like brothers. There's been no loftier soul since time began. He is an excellent man. To keep his precepts is to be reborn, to view this dunghill of a world with scorn. Thanks to his tutelage, I'm a changed man indeed. Under his teachings, my soul's been freed from earthly loves and every human tie. My brother, children, wife, and mother could die, and I'd not feel a moment's pain.
That's a fine sentiment, brother. Most humane.
Had you seen Tartuffe as I first knew him, your heart, like mine, would have surrendered to him. He used to come into our church each day and humbly kneel nearby and start to pray. His serving men, no less devout than he, informed me of their master's poverty. At length, heaven prompted me to take him in, to dwell with us and free our souls from sin. He guides our lives and, to protect my honor, stays by my wife and keeps an eye upon her. He tells me who she sees and all she does, and seems more jealous than I ever was. And how austere he is. Why, he can detect a mortal sin where you would least suspect. In smallest trifles, he's extremely strict. Last week, his conscience was severely pricked because, while praying, he had caught a flea and killed it, so he felt too wrathfully.
Good God, man! Have you lost all common sense? Or is this all some ignorant joke at my expense? How can you stand there in all sobriety?
Brother, your language savors of impiety. Too much free thinkings made your faith unsteady, and as I've told you many times already, will get you into trouble before you're through.
So I've been told before by dupes like you. Being blind, you'd have all others blind as well. The clear-eyed man you call an infidel, and he who sees through humbug and pretense is charged by you with want of reverence. Spare me your warnings, brother. I have no fear of speaking out, for you and heaven to hear. Just as those whose courage shines the most in battle are the least inclined to boast, so those whose hearts are truly pure and lowly don't make a flashy show of being holy. There's a vast difference, so it seems to me, between true piety and hypocrisy. How do you fail to see it, may I ask? Is not a face quite different from a mask? Cannot sincerity and cunning art, reality and semblance be told apart? Ah, brother, man's a strangely fashioned creature, who seldom is content to follow nature, but recklessly pursues his inclination past the human bounds of moderation, and often, by transgressing reason's laws, perverts a lofty aim or noble cause. A passing observation, but it applies.
I see, dear brother, that you're profoundly wise. You harbor all the insight of our age. You are our one clear mind, our only sage. This era's oracle, it's Cato too, and all mankind are fools compared to you.
Brother, I don't pretend to be a sage, nor have I all the wisdom of the age. There's just one insight that I would dare to claim. I know that true and false are not the same. And just as there is nothing that I more revere than a soul whose faith is steadfast and sincere, so there is nothing that I find more base than specious piety's dishonest face. these calculating souls who offer prayers, not to their maker, but as public wares, who weep and pray and swindle and extort, who preach the monkish life, but haunt the court. And when there is an enemy to defame, they cloak their spite in fair religion's name. Such knaves are all too common, yet for the wise, true piety isn't hard to recognize. It's there in those who let others preach and rave. They show by deeds how Christians should behave. These men I honor, these men I advocate, as models for us all to emulate. Your man is not that sort at all, I fear, and while your praise of him is most sincere, I'm afraid you've been dreadfully deluded.
Now then, dear brother, is your speech concluded?
Why, yes.
Your servant, sir.
No, brother, wait. There's one more matter. You agreed of late that young Molière should take your daughter's hand.
I did.
And set the date, I understand.
Quite so.
You've now postponed it, is that true?
No doubt.
The match no longer pleases you?
Who knows?
Do you mean to go back on your word?
I won't say that.
Has anything occurred which might entitle you to break your pledge?
Perhaps.
Why must you hem and haw and hedge? The boy asked me to sound you in this affair.
Your servant, sir.
But what shall I tell Molière?
Whatever you like.
But what have you decided? What are your plans?
I plan, sir, to be guided by heaven's will.
Come, brother, don't talk rot. You've given Molière a word. Will you keep it or not?
Good day.
This seems to be poor Valaire's undoing. I'll go and warn him that there's trouble brewing.
Marianne!
Yes, Father?
A word with you. Come here.
What are you looking for?
Eavesdroppers, dear. I'm making sure we shan't be overheard. Someone in there could catch our every word. Good. We're safe. Now, Marianne, my child, you're a sweet girl who's tractable and mild, whom I hold dear and think most highly of.
I'm deeply grateful, Father, for your love.
That's well said, daughter, and you can repay me if in all things you cheerfully obey me.
To please you, sir, is what delights me best.
Good, good. Now, what do you think of Tartuffe, our guest?
I, sir?
Yes. Weigh your answer. Think it through.
Oh, dear. I'll say whatever you wish me to.
That's wisely said, daughter. Say of him, then, that he's the very worthiest of men.
He's the very worthiest of men.
And that you're fond of him.
I'm fond of him.
And you would rejoice?
And I would rejoice.
In being his wife, if that should be my choice.
In being his wife, if that should be your choice?
Well,
Forgive me, pray.
did you not hear me?
Of whom, sir? Must I say that I am fond of him and would rejoice in being his wife if that should be your choice?
Why, of Tartuffe.
But father, that's false, you know. Why would you have me say what isn't so?
Because I am resolved it should be true. That it's my wish should be enough for you.
You can't mean, Father.
Yes, Tartuffe will be allied by marriage to this family. And he is to be your husband. Is that clear? It's a father's privilege. What are you doing here? Is curiosity in you so fierce a passion that you must eavesdrop in this fashion?
There's lately been a rumor going about, based on some hunch or chance remark, no doubt, that you mean Mary Ann to wed Tartuffe. I've laughed it off, of course, it's just a spoof.
You find it so incredible.
Yes, I do. I won't accept such a story, even from you.
Well, you'll believe it when the thing is done.
Oh, yes, go on and have your fun.
I've never been more serious in my life. Daughter, I mean it. You're to be his wife.
Oh, don't believe your father. It's all a hoax.
See here, young woman.
Come, sir. No more jokes. You can't fool us.
How dare you talk that way?
All right, then. We believe you, sad to say. But how a man like you, who looks so wise and has a house of such splendid size, could be so foolish as to...
Silence, please. My girl, you take too many liberties. I'm the master here, as you must not forget.
Let's discuss this calmly. Don't be upset. You can't be serious, sir, about this plan. What should that bigot want with Mary Ann? Praying and fasting ought to keep him busy. And then in terms of wealth and rank, what is he? Why should a man of property like you pick out a beggar son-in-law?
That will do. Speak of his poverty with reverence. His is a pure and saintly indigence which far transcends all worldly pride and health. He lost his fortune, as he says himself, because he cared for heaven above alone, and still was careless of his interests here below. I mean to get him out of his present straits, and help him to recover his estates, which in his part of the world have no small fame. Poor though he is, he's a gentleman just the same.
Yes, so he tells us. And, sir, it seems to me such pride goes very ill with piety. A man whose spirit spurns this dungy earth ought not to brag of lands and noble birth. Such worldly arrogance will hardly square with meek devotion and the life of prayer. But this approach, I see, has drawn a blank. Let's speak then of his person, not his rank. Doesn't it seem to you a trifle grim to give a girl like her to a man like him? When two are so ill-suited, can't you see what the sad consequence is bound to be? A young girl's virtue is imperiled, sir, when such a marriage is imposed on her. For if one's bridegroom isn't to one's taste, it's hardly an inducement to be chaste. And many a man with horns upon his brow has made his wife the thing that she is now. It's hard to be a faithful wife, in short, to certain husbands of a certain sort, and he who gives his daughter to a man she hates must answer for her sins at heaven's gates. Think, sir, before you play so risky a role.
This servant girl presumes to save my soul.
You would do well to ponder what I have said.
Daughter, we'll disregard this dunderhead. Just trust your father's judgment. Oh, I'm aware that I once promised you to young Molière. Now I hear he gambles, which greatly shocks me. What's more, I've doubts about his orthodoxy. His visits to church, I'll note, are very few.
Would you have him go at the same hours as you and kneel nearby to be sure of being seen?
I can dispense with such remarks, Doreen. Tartuffe, however, is sure of heaven's blessing, and that's the only treasure worth possessing. No harsh words shall be heard, no frown be seen, and he shall make you happy as a queen.
And she'll make him a cuckold, just wait and see.
What language?
Oh, he's a man of destiny. He's made for horns, and what the stars demand your daughter's virtue surely can't withstand.
Don't interrupt me further. Why can't you learn that certain things are none of your concern?
It's for your own sake that I interfere.
Most kind of you. Now hold your tongue, do you hear?
If I didn't love you...
Spare me your affection.
Oh, I'll love you, sir, in spite of your objection.
Blast!
I can't bear, sir, for your honor's sake, to let you make this ludicrous mistake.
You mean to go on talking?
If I didn't protest this sinful marriage, my conscience couldn't rest.
If you don't hold your tongue, you little shrew!
Oh, what? Lost your temper? A pious man like you?
Yes! Yes! You talk and talk. I'm maddened by it. Once and for all, I tell you to be quiet.
Well, I'll be quiet. But I'll be thinking hard.
Think all you like, but you had better guard that saucy tongue of yours, or I'll... Now, child, I've weighed the matter fully.
It drives me wild that I can't speak.
And though Tartuffe is no young dandy, his person
Is as sweet as candy.
is such that, even if you don't care for his
Oh,
other...
they'll make a lovely pair. If I were she, no man would marry me against my inclination and go scot-free. No, he'd learn before the wedding day was over just how readily a wife can find a lover.
It seems you treat my orders as a joke.
Oh, why, what's the matter? 'Twas not to you I spoke.
What were you doing?
Talking to myself, that's all.
Huh. One more bit of impudence and gall, and I shall give her a good slap in the face. Now, daughter, you shall accept, and with good grace, the husband I've selected. Your wedding day, why don't you talk to yourself?
I've nothing to say.
Come, speak.
No, thank you, sir. I pass.
Come, just one word.
I'd not be such an ass.
In short, dear daughter, I mean to be obeyed. And you must bow to the sound choice I've made.
I don't like such a monster, even in jest.
Daughter, that maid of yours is a thorough pest. She makes me sinfully annoyed and nettled. I can't speak further. My nerves are too unsettled. She's so upset me by her insolent talk. I'll calm myself by going for a walk.
Well, have you lost your tongue, girl? Must I play your part and say the lines you ought to say? Faced with a fate so hideous and absurd, can you not utter one dissenting word?
What good would it do? A father's power is great.
Resist him now, or it will be too late.
But
Tell him that one cannot love at a father's whim, that you shall marry for yourself, not him, and that if he thinks his Tartuffe is so sublime, he's free to marry him at any time.
I've bowed so long to father's strict control, I couldn't oppose him now to save my soul.
Come, Marianne, do listen to reason, won't you? Molière has asked your hand. Do you love him or don't you?
Oh, how unjust of you. What do you mean by asking such a question, dear Doreen? You know the depth of my affection for him. Told you 100 times how I adore him.
I don't believe in everything I hear. Who knows if your professions were sincere?
They were, Doreen. You do me wrong to doubt it. Heaven knows I've been all too frank about it.
You love him, then?
Oh, more than I can express.
And he, I take it, cares for you no less?
I think so.
And you both with equal fire burn to be married?
That is our one desire.
What of Tartuffe, then? What of your father's plan?
I'll kill myself if I'm forced to wed that man.
I hadn't thought of that recourse. How splendid. Just die and all your troubles will be ended. A fine solution. It maddens me to hear you talk in that self-pitying key.
Doreen, how harsh you are. It's most unfair. You have no sympathy for my despair.
I've none at all for people who talk drivel and faced with difficulties whine and snivel.
No doubt I'm timid, but it would be wrong.
True love requires a heart that is firm and strong.
I'm strong in my affection for Molière, but coping with my father is his affair.
But if your father's brain has grown so cracked over his dear Tartuffe that he can retract his blessing though your wedding day was named, it's surely not Molière who's to be blamed.
If I defied my father, as you suggest, would it not seem unmaidenly at best? Shall I defend my love at the expense of brazenness and disobedience? Shall I parade my heart's desires and flaunt?
No! I ask nothing of you. Clearly, you want to be Madame Tartuffe, and I feel bound not to oppose a wish so very sound.
Dear,
What right have I to criticize the match? Indeed, my dear, the man's a brilliant catch. And oh, how triumphant you will feel at having caught a husband so ideal.
oh, do stop teasing. Use your cleverness to get me out of this appalling mess.
Your servant, Madam.
Doreen!
No, you deserve it. This marriage must go through.
Doreen!
No!
I've always told you everything and relied.
No, you deserve to be Tartuffified.
Well, since you mock me and refuse to care, I'll henceforth seek my solace in despair. Despair shall be my counselor and friend, and help me bring my sorrows to an end.
Oh, come back. My anger has subsided. You do deserve some pity, I've decided.
Doreen, if Father makes me undergo this dreadful martyrdom, I'll die. I know.
Don't fret. It won't be hard to uncover some plan of action. But here's Molière, your lover.
Madam, I've just received some wondrous news regarding which I'd like to hear your views.
What news?
You're marrying Tartuffe.
Yes, I find that Father does have such a match in mind.
Your father, madam.
Has just this minute said that it's Tartuffe he wishes me to wed.
And, what position do you propose to take, madam?
Why, I don't know.
For heaven's sake, you don't know!
No?
Well.
Advise me, do.
Marry the man, that's my advice to you.
That's your advice?
Yes.
Truly?
Oh, absolutely. You couldn't choose more wisely, more astutely.
Thanks for this counsel. I'll follow it, of course.
Yeah, do. I'm sure it will cost you no remorse.
To give it didn't cause your heart to break.
I gave it, madam, only for your sake.
And it's for your sake that I take it, sir.
Let's see which fool will prove the stubborner.
So, I am nothing to you. And it was flat deception when
Oh,
you...
please, enough of that. You've told me plainly that I should agree to wed the man my father's chosen for me. And since you've deigned to counsel me so wisely, I promise, sir, to do as you advise me.
No, it was not by my hand that you were swayed. No, your decision was already made. But now, to save appearances, you protest that you're betraying me at my behest.
Just as you say.
Quite so. And now I see that you were never truly in love with me.
Alas, you're free to think so if you choose.
I choose to think so. Here's a bit of news. You've spurned my hand, but I know where to turn for kinder treatment, as you shall quickly learn.
I'm sure you do. Your noble qualities inspire
Forget my
affection.
qualities, please. They don't inspire you over much, I find. But there's another lady on my mind, whose sweet and generous nature will not scorn to compensate me for the loss I've borne.
I'm no great loss, and I'm sure that you'll transfer your heart quite painlessly from me to her.
I'll do my best to take it in my stride. The pain I feel at being cast aside, time and forgetfulness shall put an end to. Or if I can't forget, I shall pretend to. No self-expecting person is expected to keep on loving once he's been rejected.
Oh, that's fine, high-minded sentiment.
One to which any sane man would assent. Would you prefer it if I pined away in hopeless passion till my dying day? Am I to yield you to a rival's arms and not console myself with other charms?
Go then. Console yourself. Don't hesitate. I wish you to. Indeed, I cannot wait.
You wish me to.
Yes.
That's the final straw. Madam, farewell. Your wish shall be my law.
Splendid.
This breach, remember, is of your making.
Of course.
It's you who've driven me to the step I'm taking. Remember, too, that I'm merely following your example.
I see that clearly.
Enough. I'll go and do your bidding then.
Good.
You shall never see my face again.
Excellent.
What?
What?
What's that? What did you say?
Nothing. You're dreaming.
Ah. Well, I'm on my way. Farewell, madame.
Farewell.
If you ask me, both of you are as mad can be. Do stop this nonsense now. I've only let you squabble so long to see where it would get you. Whoa there, Monsieur Valère.
What's this story?
Come here.
No, my heart's too full of spleen. No, hold me back, her wish must be obeyed.
Stop.
No, it's too late now. My decision's made.
Oh, pooh.
He hates the sight of me. That's plain. I'll go and so deliver him for pain.
Don't you run away. Come back.
No, nothing you say will keep me here. Let go.
She cannot bear my presence, I perceive. To spare her further torment, I shall leave.
You won't escape, sir, so just don't try it, both of you. Stop fussing and be quiet.
What do you want of me?
What is the point of this?
We're gonna have a little armistice. Now, weren't you silly to get so overheated?
Did you not see how badly I was treated?
And aren't you a simpleton to have lost your head?
Did you not hear the hateful things he said?
You're both great fools. Her sole desire, Valère, is to be yours in marriage. To that I'll swear. He loves you only and wants no wife but you, Marianne. On that I'll stake my life.
Then why you advised me so, I cannot see.
On such a question, why ask advice of me?
Give me your hands, you two. Yours first.
But why?
And now a hand from
What
you.
are you doing?
There, a perfect fit. You suit each other better than you'll admit.
Come. Don't be so haughty. Give a man a look of kindness, won't you, Marianne?
I tell you, lovers are completely mad.
Now come. Confess that you were very bad to hurt my feelings as you did just now. I have a just complaint you must allow.
You must allow that you were most unpleasant.
Let's table that discussion for the present. Your father has a plan which must be stopped.
Advise us then. What means must we adopt?
We will use all manner of means and all at once. Your father's adult. He's acting like a dunce, therefore you'd better humor the old fossil. Pretend to yield to him, be sweet and docile, and then postpone, as often as necessary, the day upon which you have agreed to marry. You'll thus gain time, and time will turn the trick. Sometimes, for instance, you'll be taken sick, and that will seem reason for the delay. Or some bad omen will make you change the day. You'll dream of muddy water, or pass a dead man's hearse, or break a looking glass. If all else fails, no man can marry you unless you take his ring and say, I do. Now let's be off. If they see us talking here, our plot might be divined. You go to your friends and tell them what's occurred and have them urge your father to keep his word. Meanwhile, we'll stir her brother into action and get Elmire as well to join our faction. Goodbye.
Though each of us shall do his best, it's on your true heart that my hope shall rest.
Regardless of what father may decide, none but Valère shall claim me as his bride.
Oh, how those words content me. Come what will!
Lovers, their tongues are never still. No time to chat. You leave by this door and you leave by that.
strike me even as I speak. May all men call me cowardly and weak. If any fear or scruple holds me back from settling things at once with that great quack.
Now don't give way to violent emotion. Your father has merely talked about this notion, and words and deeds are far from being one. Much that is talked about is left undone.
No, I must stop that scoundrel's machinations. I'll go and tell him off. I'm out of patience.
Now do calm down and be practical. I had rather my mistress dealt with him and with your father. She has some influence with Tartuffe, I've noted. He hangs on her words, seems most devoted, and may indeed be smitten by her charm. Pray heaven 'tis true, to do our cause no harm. She sent for him just now to sound him out on this affair you're so incensed about. She'll find out where he stands and tell him too what dreadful strife and trouble will ensue if he lends countenance to your father's plan. I couldn't get in to see him, but his man says he's almost finished with his prayers. Go on, I'll catch him when he comes downstairs.
I want to hear this conference, and I will.
No, they must be alone.
Oh, I'll keep still.
Not you, I know your temper. You'd start a brawl and shout and stamp your foot and spoil it all. Go on.
No, I won't. I have a perfect right.
Lord, you're a nuisance. He's coming. Just get out of sight.
Hang up my hair shirt and put my scourge in place, and pray, Laurent, for heaven's perpetual grace. I'm going to the prison now to share my last few coins with the poor wretches there.
Dear God, what affectation. What a fake.
You wish to see me?
Yes.
For mercy's sake, please take this handkerchief before you speak.
What?
Cover that bosom, girl, the flesh is weak. And unclean thoughts are difficult to control. Such sights as that can undermine the soul.
Your soul, it seems, has very poor defenses, and flesh makes quite an impact on your senses. You know, it's strange you seem so easily excited. My own desires are not so soon ignited, and if I saw you naked as a beast, not all your hide would tempt me in the least.
Girl, speak more modestly. Unless you do, I shall be forced to take my leave of you.
Oh, no, it's I who must be on my way. I've just one little message to convey. Madame is coming down and begs you, sir, to wait and have a word or two with her.
Gladly.
That had a softening effect. I think my guess about him was correct.
Will she be long?
Oh, no, that's her step, I hear. Ah, here she is. I shall disappear.
May heaven, whose infinite goodness we adore, preserve your body and soul forevermore, and bless your days, and answer thus the plea of one who is its humblest votary.
I thank you for that pious wish. But please, do take a chair and let's be more at ease.
I trust that you are once more well and strong.
Oh yes, the fever didn't last for long.
My prayers are too unworthy, I am sure, to have gained from heaven this most gracious cure. But lately, madam, my every supplication has had for object your recuperation.
You shouldn't have troubled so. I don't deserve it.
Your health is priceless, madam, and to preserve it, I'd gladly give my own in all sincerity.
Sir, you outdo us all in Christian charity. You've been most kind. I count myself your debtor.
'Twas nothing, madam, I long to serve you better.
There's a private matter I'm anxious to discuss. I'm glad there's no one here to hinder us.
I too am glad. It floods my heart with bliss to find myself alone with you like this. For just this chance I prayed with all my power, but prayed in vain until this happy hour.
This won't take long, sir, and I'll hope you'll be entirely frank and unconstrained with me.
Indeed, there's nothing I had rather do than bare my inmost heart and soul to you. First, let me say that what remarks I've made about the constant visits you were paid were prompted not by any mean emotion, but rather by a pure and deep devotion, a fervent zeal.
No need for explanation. Your sole concern, I'm sure, was my salvation.
Quite so, in such great fervor do I feel.
Oh, please, you're pinching.
'Twas from excessive zeal. I never meant to cause you pain, I swear. I'd rather...
And what can your hand be doing down there?
Feeling your gown. What soft, fine-woven stuff.
Oh, please. I'm extremely ticklish. That's enough.
My, what lovely lacework on your dress. The workmanship's miraculous, no less. I've not seen anything to equal it.
Quite. But let's talk business for a bit. They say my husband means to break his word and give his daughter to you, sir. Had you heard?
He did once mention it, but I confess I dream of quite a different happiness. It's elsewhere, madam, that my eyes discern the promise of that bliss for which I yearn.
I see. You care for nothing here below.
Well, my heart's not made of stone, you know.
All your desires mount heavenward, I'm sure, in scorn of all that's earthly and impure.
A love of heavenly beauty does not preclude a proper love of earthly pulchritude. Some glory clings to all that heaven has made. In you, all heaven's marvels are displayed. On that fair face, such beauty has been lavished. The eyes are dazzled and the heart is ravished. How could I look on you, O flawless creature, and not adore the author of all nature? Feeling a love both passionate and pure, for you, his triumph of self-portraiture. At first I trembled lest this love should be a subtle snare that hell had laid for me, but soon, fair being, I became aware that my deep passion could be made to square with rectitude and with my bounden duty. I thereupon surrendered to your beauty. It is, I know, presumptuous on my part to bring you this poor offering of my heart, and it is not my merit, heaven knows, but your compassion on which my hopes repose. I abide your judgment, and as you see best, I shall be either miserable or blessed.
Your declaration is most gallant, sir, but don't you think it's out of character? You would have done better to restrain your passion and think before you spoke in such a fashion. It ill becomes a pious man like you.
I may be pious, but I'm human too. With your celestial charms before his eyes, a man has not the power to be wise. I know such words sound strangely coming from me, but I'm no angel, nor was meant to be. Before your seraph glance, divinely sweet, my heart's defenses crumbled in defeat, and nothing fasting, prayer, or tears could do could stay my spirit from adoring you. With me, of course, there need be no anxiety, no fear of scandal or of notoriety. These young court gallants whom all the ladies fancy are vain in speech and action rash and chancy. When they succeed in love, the world soon knows it. No favors granted them, but they disclose it, and by the looseness of their tongues profane the very altar where their hearts have lain. Men of my sort, however, love discreetly, and you may trust our reticence completely. My keen concern for my good name ensures the absolute security of yours. In short, I offer you, my dear Elmire, love without scandal, pleasure without fear.
I've heard your well-turned speeches to the end, and what you urge I clearly apprehend. Aren't you afraid that I may take a notion and tell my husband of your warm devotion, and that, supposing he were duly told, his feelings toward you might grow rather cold?
Dear lady, I know that your exceeding charity will lead your heart to pardon my temerity, and that you'll excuse my violent affection as human weakness, human imperfection, and that, O fairest, you will bear in mind that I am of flesh and blood, and am not blind.
Some women might do otherwise, perhaps, but I shall be discreet about your lapse. I'll tell my husband nothing of what's occurred, if, in return, you'll give your solemn word to advocate as forcefully as you can the marriage of Molière and Marianne, renouncing all desire to dispossess another.
No! We'll not hush this vile affair. I heard it behind that statue there, where heaven, in order to confound the pride of that great rascal, prompted me to hide. Now I have my long-awaited chance to punish his deceit and arrogance, and give my father clear and shocking proof of the black character of his dear Tartuffe.
No, Demise. I'll be content if he would study to deserve my leniency. I've promised silence. Don't make me break my word. To make a scandal would be too absurd. Good wives laugh off such trifles and forget them. Why should we tell our husbands and upset them?
You have your reasons for taking such a course, and I have reasons too, of equal force. To spare him now would be insanely wrong. I've swallowed my just wrath for far too long, and watched this insolent bigot bringing strife and bitterness into our family life. Too long he's meddled in my father's affairs, thwarting my wedding hopes, and poor Valaire's. It's high time my father was undeceived, and I've proof that can't be disbelieved. Proof that was furnished by heaven above. It's too good not to take advantage of. This is my chance, and I deserve to lose it, if for one moment I hesitate to use it.
Demise.
No, we must do what I think is right. Madam, my heart is bursting with delight. And say what you will, I'll not consent to lose this sweet revenge on which I'm bent. I'll settle on all matters without much ado. And here most opportunely is my cue. Father, I'm glad you've joined us. Let us advise you of some fresh news which doubtless will surprise you. You've just been repaid with interest for for all your loving kindness to your guest. He's proved his warm and grateful feelings towards you. It's with a pair of horns he would reward you. Yes, I surprised him with your wife and heard his whole adulterous offer, every word. Her, with her all too gentle disposition, would not have told you of his proposition. But I will not make terms with brazen lechery, and think not to tell you would be treachery.
And I hold that one's husband's peace of mind should not be spoiled by tattle of this kind. One's honor doesn't require it. To be proficient at keeping men at bay is quite sufficient. These are my sentiments, and I wish, Demise, that you had yielded them and held your peace.
Can it be true? This dreadful thing I hear?
Yes, brother. I'm a wicked man, I fear. A wretched sinner, all depraved and twisted, the greatest villain that has ever existed. Charge me with any deed you care to name. I'll not defend myself, but take the blame. Believe what you were told and drive Tartuffe like some base criminal from beneath this roof. Yes, drive me hence, and with a parting curse I shan't defend myself, for I deserve far worse.
Why, you deceitful boy! How dare you try to stain his purity with so foul a lie?
Were you so taken in by such a bluff? Did you not hear?
Enough, you rogue, enough!
Brother, please, you're being unjust. Believe his story. The boy deserves your trust. Why, after all, should you have faith in me? You've no idea what I might do or be. Though the world takes me for a man of worth, I'm truly the most worthless man on earth. Yes, speak out, my dear brother. Call me the chief of sinners, a wretch, a murderer, a thief. I'll kneel here while you pour them on my head as a just punishment for the life I've led.
This is too much, dear brother. Have you no heart?
Are you so taken in by this rascal's art?
Be still, you monster! Brother, I pray you, rise. Villain!
But
silence!
Can't you realize?
Just one word more, and I'll tear you limb from limb.
Oh, brother, please, don't be so harsh with him. I'd rather far be tortured at the stake than see him bear one scratch for my poor sake.
Ingrate!
If I must beg you on bended knee to pardon him.
Such goodness cannot be. Now there's true charity.
What, you?
Villain, be still! I know your motives. I know you wish him ill. Yes, all of you. Wife, children, servants, all conspire against him and desire his fall, employing every shameful trick you can to alienate me from this saintly man. But the more you seek to drive him away, the more I'll do to keep him. Without delay, I'll spite this household and confound its pride by giving him my daughter as his bride.
You're going to force her to accept his hand?
Yes, and this very night, do you understand? I shall defy you all and make it clear that I'm the one who gives the orders here. Come, wretch, kneel and clasp his blessed feet and ask his pardon for your black deceit.
I ask that swindler's pardon. Why, I'd rather...
So, you insult him and defy your father. A stick! No, release me, do. Out of my house this minute. Be off with you, and never dare set foot in it again.
Well, I shall go...
Well, go quickly then. I disinherit you. An empty purse is all you'll get from me. Accept my curse. Out! How he blasphemed your goodness. What a son.
Forgive him, Lord, as I've already done. You can't know how it feels when someone tries to blacken me in my dear brother's eyes. The mere thought of such ingratitude plunges my heart into so dark a mood. Such horror grips my heart. I gasp for breath.
Doreen! Doreen!
I cannot speak. I feel myself near death.
You blockhead! Why did I spare you? Why did I not tear you into pieces on the spot? Compose yourself, and don't be hurt, dear friend.
These scenes, these dreadful quarrels have got to end. I've much upset your household, and I perceive that the best thing would be for me to leave.
What are you saying?
They're all against me here. They'd have you think me false and insincere.
And what of that? Have I ceased believing in you?
Their adverse talk will certainly continue, and charges which you now repudiate you may find credible at a later date.
No, brother, never.
To leave at once is the solution. Thus only can I end their persecution.
No, I won't allow it. You shall remain.
I will. 'Twill mean much martyrdom and pain. But if you wish it, enough, so be it. But one thing must be settled as I see it. For your dear honor and for our friendship's sake, there's one precaution I feel bound to take. I shall avoid your wife and keep away.
No, you shall not, whatever they may say. It pleases me to vex them, and for spite, I'd have them see you with her day and night. What's more, I'm going to drive them to despair by making you my only son and heir. This very day I give to you alone clear deed and title to everything I own. A dear, good friend and son-in-law to be is more than wife or child or kin to me. Do you accept my offer, dearest son?
In all things, let the will of heaven be done.
Poor fellow. Come, let us go drop the deed, then let them burst with disappointed greed.
I'm glad we've met, sir, and I'll give my view on this sad matter in a word or two. As for who's guilty, that I shan't discuss. Let's say it was Demise who caused the fuss. Assuming then that you've been ill-used by young Demise and groundlessly accused, art not a Christian to forgive, and ought he not to stifle every vengeful thought? Shall you stand by and watch a father make his only son in exile for your sake? No, sacrifice your wrath to God above, and help Demise regain his father's love.
Alas, for my part, I should take great joy in doing so. I have nothing against the boy, but heaven's interest would not have it so. If he should return, then I should have to go. After his conduct so extreme, so vicious, our further intercourse would look suspicious. God knows what people would think, why they describe my kindness to him as a sort of bribe, that fearing my accuser's tongue, I strove to buy his silence with a show of love.
Your reasoning is badly warped and stretched, and these excuses, sir, are most far-fetched. Why put yourself in charge of heaven's cause? Does heaven need our help to enforce its laws? What? Shall the fear of being misunderstood prevent us from doing what is right and good?
Again, sir, let me say that I've forgiven Demise and thus obey the laws of heaven. But I am not commanded by the Bible to live with one who smears my name with libel.
Were you commanded, sir, to indulge the whim of poor Orgon and encourage him in suddenly transferring to your name a large estate to which you have no claim?
It would never occur to those who know me best to think I acted from self-interest. The treasures of this world I quite despise. Their specious glitter does not charm my eyes. And if I have resigned myself to taking this gift which my dear brother insists on making, it is only as he well understands, lest so much wealth fall into wicked hands.
I'm shocked you allowed Orgon to broach this matter, and that you feel no self-reproach. Does true religion teach that lawful heirs may be freely deprived of what is theirs? And if the Lord has told you in your heart that you and young Demise must dwell apart, could it not be the decent thing to beat a generous and honorable retreat, instead of letting the son of the house be sent, for your convenience, into banishment? Sir, if you wish to prove the honesty of your intentions...
Sir, it is 3:30. I have certain pious duties to attend to. I hope my prompt departure won't offend you.
Damn.
Stay, sir, and help Mary Ann, for heaven's sake. She's suffering, so I fear her heart will break. Our father's plan to marry her off tonight has put the poor child in a desperate plight. Oh, he's coming. Let's stand together now and see if we can't change his mind somehow about this plan we all deplore and fear.
Glad to find you all assembled here. This contract, child, contains your happiness, and what it says, I think your heart may guess.
Sir, by that heaven which sees me here distressed, and by whatever else can move your breast, do not employ a father's power, I pray you, to crush my heart and force it to obey you, nor by your harsh commands oppress me so, that I'll begrudge the duty which I owe, and do not so embitter and enslave me, that I shall hate the very life you gave me. If my sweet hopes must perish, if you refuse to give me to the one I dare to choose, spare me at least, I beg you, I implore, the pain of wedding one whom I abhor, and do not, by some heartless use of force, drive me to contemplate some desperate course.
Be firm, my heart. No human weakness now.
I don't resent your love for him. Allow your heart free rein, sir. Give him your property. And if that's not enough, take mine from me. He's welcome to my money. Take it, do. But don't, I pray, include my person too. Spare me at least, and let me end the tale of my sad days behind a convent veil!
A convent. When crossed in their amours, all lovesick girls have the same thought as yours. The more you loathe the man and dread him, the more ennobling it will be to wed him. Marry Tartuffe and mortify your flesh. Enough! Don't start that whimpering afresh.
But why?
Speak when you're spoken to. Not one more bit of impudence out of you.
If I may offer some counsel here.
Brother, in counseling, you have no peer. All your advice is forceful, sound, and clever. I don't propose to follow it, however.
I am amazed, and don't know what to say. Your blindness simply takes my breath away. You're indeed bewitched to take no warning of our account of what occurred this morning.
I know a few plain facts, madam, and one is that you're partial to my rascal son. Thus, when he sought to make Tartuffe the victim of a base lie, you dared not contradict him. But you underplayed your part, my pet. You should have looked more angry, more upset,
When men make overtures, must we reply with righteous anger and a battle cry? Must we turn back their amorous advances for sharp reproaches and fiery glances? Myself, I find such offers merely amusing, and make no scenes and fusses in refusing. I've found that a polite and cool rebuff discourages a lover quite enough.
I know the facts, and I will not be shaken.
I marvel at your power to be mistaken. Would it, I wonder, carry weight with you if I were to show you that our tale was true?
Show me.
Yes.
Rot!
Come. What if there was a way to make you see the facts as plain as day?
Nonsense.
Do listen to me. Don't be absurd. I'm not now asking you to trust our word. Suppose that from some hiding place in here you were to learn the whole sad truth by eye and ear. What would you say of your good friend after that?
Why, I'd say, nothing by Jehoshaphat. It can't be true.
You've been too long deceived, and I'm quite tired of being disbelieved. Come, let's put my statements to the test, and you shall see the truth made manifest.
I'll take your challenge. Now do your uttermost. Let's see how you make good an empty boast.
Send him to me.
He's crafty. It may be hard to catch the cunning scoundrel off his guard.
No. Amorous men are gullible. Their conceit so blinds them that they're never hard to cheat. Have him come down. Please leave us for a bit. Pull up this table and get under it.
What?
It is essential that you are well hidden.
Why, there.
Oh, heavens, just do as you are bidden. I have my plans. We'll soon see how they fare. Under the table now, and once you're there, take care that you are neither seen nor heard.
Well, I'll indulge you. Since I gave my word to see you through this infantile charade.
Once it is over, you'll be glad we played. I'm going to act quite strangely now, and you must not be shocked at anything I do. I'm going to employ sweet speeches to the task of making that imposter drop his mask. I'll give encouragement to his bold desires and furnish fuel to his amorous fires. Since it is for your sake and for his destruction that I shall seem to yield to his seduction, I'll gladly stop whenever you decide that all your doubts are fully satisfied. Remember, you're to save me from my plight whenever... Oh, she's coming, keep out of sight.
You wish to have a word with me, I'm told.
Yes, I have a little secret to unfold. Before I speak, however, it would be wise to close that door and check about for spies. The very last thing that must happen now is a repetition of this morning's row. I've never been so badly caught off guard. Oh, how I feared for you. You saw how hard I tried to make that troublesome Demise control his dreadful temper and hold his peace. In my confusion, I didn't have the sense simply to contradict his evidence. But as it happened, all that was for the best. And all has worked out to our interest. The storm has only bettered your position. My husband doesn't have the least suspicion. And now, in mockery of those who do, he bids me be continually with you. And that is why, quite fearless of reproof, I can now be alone with my Tartuffe, and why my heart, perhaps too quick to yield, feels free to let its passion be revealed.
Madame, your words confuse me. Not long ago, you spoke in quite a different style, you know.
Ah, sir, if that refusal made you smart, it's little you know of a woman's heart, and what that heart is trying to convey when it resists in such a feeble way. Always at first, our modesty prevents the frank avowal of tender sentiments. But what our lips deny, our pulse confesses, and in time all no's will turn to yeses. I fear my words are all too frank and free, and a poor proof of women's modesty. But since I'm started, tell me, if you will, would I have tried to make Demise be still? Would I have listened calm and unoffended until your lengthy offer of love was ended, and been so very mild in my reaction, had your sweet words not given me satisfaction?
Madame, no happiness is so complete as when from lips we love come words so sweet. Their nectar floods my every sense and drains in honeyed rivulets through all my veins. To please you is my joy, my only goal. Your lover is the restorer of my soul. And yet I must beg leave now to confess some lingering doubts as to my happiness. Might not this be a trick? Might not the catch be that you wish me to break off the match with Marianne and so have feigned to love me? I shan't quite trust your fond opinion of me, until the feelings you've expressed so sweetly are demonstrated somewhat more concretely. And you have shown by certain kind concessions that I may put my faith in your professions.
Why be in such a hurry? Must my heart exhaust its bounty at the very start? To make that sweet admission cost me dear, but you'll not be content, it would appear, until my store of favors is dispersed to the last farthing, and at the very first.
We trust no promised bliss till we receive it. Not till a joy is ours can we believe it. I, who so little merit your esteem, can't credit this fulfillment of my dream, and shan't believe it, madam, until I savor some palpable assurance of your favor.
My, how tyrannical your love can be, and how it flusters and perplexes me. Come, must you hound and harry me to death? Will you not give me time to catch my breath?
But if you look with favor upon my love, why begrudge me some clear proof thereof?
But how can I consent without offense to heaven, toward which you feel such reverence?
If heaven is all that holds you back, don't worry. I can remove that hindrance in a hurry. Nothing of that sort need obstruct our path.
Must one not be afraid of heaven's wrath?
Madame, forget your fears and be my pupil, and I shall teach you how to conquer scruple. Some joys, it's true, are wrong in heaven's eyes, but heaven is not averse to compromise. There is a science, lately formulated, whereby one's conscience may be liberated, and any wrongful act you care to mention may be redeemed by purity of intention. I'll teach you, madam, the secrets of that science. Meanwhile, just place in me your full reliance. Assuage my keen desires, and feel no dread. The sin, if any, shall be on my head. How very aggravating.
Oh, more than I can say.
If you are still troubled, think of things this way. No one shall know our joy save us alone. And there's no evil till the act is known. It's scandal, madam, that makes a defense, and it's no sin to sin in confidence.
Well, clearly I must do as you require, and yield to your importunate desire. To go so far is much against my will. I'm vexed that it should come to this. But still, since you are so determined on it, since you will not allow mere language to convince you, and since you ask for more concrete evidence, I see nothing for it now but to comply. If this is sinful, if I am wrong to do it, so much the worse for him who drove me to it. The fault surely cannot be charged to me.
Madame, the fault is mine, if fault there be.
Open the door a little and peek out. I wouldn't want my husband poking about.
Why worry about that man? Each day he grows more gullible. One can lead him by the nose. To see us here would fill him with delight. And if he saw the worst, he'd doubt his sight.
Nevertheless, do step out a minute into the hall and check to see who's in it.
The man's a perfect monster, I must admit. I'm simply stunned. I can't get over it.
What? Coming out so soon? How premature. Get back in hiding and wait until you're sure. Stay till the end and be convinced completely. We mustn't stop till things are proved concretely.
Hell never harbored anything so vicious.
Tut. Don't be hasty. Try to be judicious. Wait, and be certain there's no mistake. No jumping to conclusions, for heaven's sake!
Madame, all things have worked out to perfection. I have given the neighboring rooms a full inspection. We are alone, and now we may at last...
Hold on, my passionate fellow. Not so fast. I should advise a little more restraint, or so you thought you'd fool me, my dear saint. How soon you wearied of the saintly life, wedding my daughter and coveting my wife. I've long suspected you, and had a feeling that I'd soon catch you at your double dealing. Just now, you've given me evidence galore. It's quite enough. I have no wish for more.
I'm sorry to have treated you so slyly, but circumstances forced me to be wily.
Brother, you can't.
No more talk from you. Just leave my household without more ado.
What I intended.
That seems fairly clear. Spare us your falsehoods and get out of here.
No. I'm the master and you're the one to go. This house belongs to me, I'll have you know. And I will show you that you can't hurt me by this contemptible conspiracy. Those who cross me know not what they do, and I means to expose and punish you. Avenge offended heaven and make you grieve that ever you dared order me to leave.
What was the point of all that angry chatter?
Dear God, I'm worried this is no laughing matter.
How so?
I fear I understood his drift. I'm much concerned about that deed of gift.
You gave him.
Yes, and it's all been drawn and signed. But there's one thing more that's weighing on my mind.
What's that?
I'll tell you, but first let's see if there's a certain strongbox in his room upstairs.
So fast?
God knows.
Then wait. Let's have a conference and deliberate on how the situation's to be met.
This strongbox has me utterly upset. This is the worst of many, many shocks.
Is there some fearful mystery in that box?
My poor friend Argus brought that box to me with his own hands in utmost secrecy. It was on the very morning of his flight. It's full of papers which, if they came to light, would ruin him. Or such is my impression.
Then why did you let it out of your possession?
The papers vexed my conscience, and I thought it would be best to ask the counsel of our pious guest. The cunning scoundrel got me to agree to leave the papers in his custody, so that in case of an investigation, I could employ a slight equivocation, and say I didn't have them, and thereby, at no expense to conscience, to tell a lie.
It seems to me as if you're on a limb. Trusting him with the box and offering him that deed of gift were actions of a kind which scarcely indicate a prudent mind. With these two weapons, he has the upper hand. And being vulnerable as matters stand, you erred once more in bringing him to bay. You should have acted in some subtler way.
Just think of it. Behind that fervent face, a heart so wicked and a soul so base, I took him in, a hungry beggar, and then. Enough, by God! I'm through with pious men. Henceforth, I'll hate the whole false brotherhood and persecute them worse than Satan ever could.
Ah, there you go again, extravagant as ever. Why can you not be rational? You never take the middle course, it seems, but jump instead between absurd extremes. Just because one rascal made you swallow a show of zeal which turned out to be hollow, shall you then conclude that all men are deceivers, and that today there are no true believers? Don't humor fraud, but also don't asperse true piety. The latter fault is worse, and it is best to err, if err one must, as you have done, upon the side of trust.
Father! I hear that scoundrels utter threats against you, how he pridefully forgets how in his moment of need he was befriended by you, and now means to use your gifts to crucify you.
It's true, my boy. I'm too distressed for tears.
Leave it to me, sir. Let me trim his ears. Faced with such insolence, you must not waver. I shall rejoice in doing you the favor of cutting short his life and your regrets.
Such a display of young hot-headedness. To learn to modify your fits of rage. In this just kingdom, this enlightened age, one does not settle things by violence.
I hear strange tales of very strange events.
Yes. Strange events indeed, which these two eyes beheld. The man's ingratitude is unparalleled. I save a wretched pauper from starvation, house him and treat him like a blood relation, shower him every day with my largesse, give him my daughter and all that I possess. And meanwhile, the unconscionable knave tries to induce my wife to misbehave, and not content with such extreme rascality, now threatens me with my own liberality. He aims to take advantage of the gifts I gave him out of Christian love, to drive me from my house, a ruined man, and make me end a pauper as he began.
Oh, poor fellow.
No, my son, I cannot bring myself to think him guilty of such a thing.
What's that?
The righteous were always maligned.
Speak clearly, mother. Say what's on your mind.
I mean that I can smell a rat, my dear. You know how everybody hates him here.
That has no bearing on the case at all.
I told you 100 times when you were small that virtue in this world is hated ever. Malicious men may die, but malice never.
No doubt that's true, but how does it apply?
They've turned you against him by a clever lie.
I told you, I was there and saw it done.
Slanders will stop at nothing, son.
Mother, for the last time, I was witness to the crime.
The tongues of spite are busy night and noon, and to their venom no man is immune.
You're talking nonsense. Can't you realize I saw it with my eyes? Do you hear me? Must I shout it in your ears before you cease to doubt it?
One often interprets things awry. Good can seem evil to a suspicious eye.
Drat!
Till his guilt is clear, a man must be given the benefit of the doubt. You should have waited to see how things turned out.
What more proof did I need? Was I to sit there, watching until he'd... You drive me to the brink of impropriety.
A man of such surpassing piety could not be guilty of a thing. You cannot shake me. I won't believe it, and you cannot make me.
You vex me so. If you were not my mother, I'd say to you some dreadful thing or other.
Ah! It's your turn now, sir, not to be listened to. You won't trust us, and now she won't trust you.
Friends, we're wasting time that should be spent on facing up to our predicament. I fear that scoundrel's threats weren't made in sport.
You think he'd have the nerve to go to court?
I'm sure he won't. They'd find it all too crude, a case of swindling and ingratitude.
Don't be too sure. He won't be at a loss to give his claims a high and righteous gloss. And clever rogues with far less valid cause have trapped their victims in a web of laws. I say again that to antagonize a man so strongly armed was most unwise.
I know it, but I was so outraged at the man's cheek, I couldn't control my pique.
I wish to God that we could devise some truce between you or some compromise.
If I had known what cards he'd held, I wouldn't have roused his anger with my little plot.
What is that man looking for? Who is he? Go to him and tell him I'm busy.
Good day, dear sister. Dear master.
He's involved with company and can't come just now, I fear.
I hate to intrude, but what has brought me here will not disturb your master in any event. Indeed, my news will make him most content.
Your name?
Just say that I bring greetings from Monsieur Tartuffe, on whose behalf I've come.
A most gracious man brings greetings from Monsieur Tartuffe, which he declares will make you most content.
By my word, I believe this fellow best be seen and heard.
Perhaps he's here to offer some sort of settlement. How shall I treat him? What manner would be best?
Control your anger, and if he should mention some fair adjustment, give him your full attention.
Good health to you, good sir. May heaven confound your enemies, and may your joys abound.
A gentle salutation. It confirms my guess that he is here to offer terms.
I've always held your family most dear. I've served this household, sir, for all this year.
I beg your pardon, sir, but to my shame, I do not now recall your face or name.
No matter. If you permit the liberty to serve you with this writ. Please, sir, let us have no friction. It is nothing but an order of eviction. You are to move your goods and family out and make way for new occupants without deferment or delay and give the keys to...
I leave this house.
Why, yes, if you please. This house from cellar to roof now belongs to the good Monsieur Tartuffe, who is now lord and master of your estate by virtue of a deed of present date drawn in due form, with clearest legal phrasing.
Your insolence is truly amazing.
Young man, my business here is not with you, but with your wise and temperate father who, like every worthy citizen, stands in awe of justice and would never obstruct the law. But you have not for a million, sir, would you rebel against authority? I know that well. You'll not make trouble here, sir, interfere with the execution of my duties here.
Someone may execute a smart tattoo on that brown jacket of yours before you're through.
Sir, bid your son be silent. I'd much regret having mentioned such a nasty threat of violence in writing my report.
This man Loyal's a most disloyal sort.
I love all men of upright character, and when I agreed to serve these papers, sir, it was your feelings that I had in mind. I couldn't bear to see someone esteem you less, and so subject you to unpleasantness.
What's more unpleasant than being forced to leave one's house and home?
You'd like a short reprieve?
Yes.
If you desire it, I shall not press you away until tomorrow to dispossess you.
Oh.
Splendid. I'll spend the night here, then most quietly, with half a score of men. You might bring me, for form's sake, you might bring me before you go to bed the keys to the front door. But bright and early, sir, you must be quick and move out all your furniture, every stick. The men I've chosen are both young and strong, and with their help, it shouldn't take you long. In short, I'm here to make things pleasant and convenient. And since I'm being so extremely lenient, please show me, sir, a like consideration and give me your entire cooperation.
I may be nearly bankrupt, but I vow I'd give 100 louis here and now, just for the pleasure of landing one good clout right on the end of that complacent snout.
Careful, don't make things worse.
My boots will just to give that beggar a good kick in the breeches.
Monsieur Loyal, I'd love to hear the whack of a stout stick across your fine broad back.
Take care. A woman, too, may go to jail if she uses threatening language to a bailiff.
Enough, sir. This must not go on. Give me your papers, please, and then be gone.
Well, au revoir. God give you all good cheer.
May God confound you! And him that sent you here. Well, mother, this writ should change your opinion of Tartuffe a bit. Do you perceive his villainy at last?
I'm thunderstruck. I'm utterly aghast. Oh, come. You mustn't take offense at this newfound proof of his benevolence. He's acting out of selfless love, I know. Material things enslave the soul, and so he has kindly arranged for your liberation from all that might endanger your salvation.
Will you not ever hold your tongue, you dunce?
Come, you must take some action, and at once.
Go! Tell the world of the low trick he's tried. The deed of gift is surely nullified by such behavior, and public outrage won't permit the wretch to carry out his plot.
Sir, though I hate to bring you more bad news, such is the danger that I cannot choose. A friend who is extremely close to me and knows my interest in your family has for my sake presumed to violate the secrecy that's due to things of state, and sends me news that you are in a plight from which your one salvation lies in flight. That scoundrel that's imposed upon you so denounced you to the king an hour ago.
No.
And as supporting evidence displayed a strongbox of a certain renegade whose secret papers, so he testified, you have disloyally agreed to hide. I don't know just what charges may be pressed, but there's a warrant out for your arrest. Tartuffe has been instructed furthermore to guide the arresting officer to your door.
He's clearly done this to facilitate the seizure of your house and your estate.
The man's a vicious beast.
Quick, sir. We mustn't tarry in the least. My carriage is outside to take you hence. This 1,000 louis should cover all expense. Let's lose no time, or you shall be undone. The sole defense in this case is to run. I shall go with you all the way and place you in a safe refuge, to which they'll never trace you.
My dear boy, I wish that I could show you my gratitude for everything I owe you. But now is not the time. I pray the Lord that I may live to give you your reward. Farewell, my dears. Be careful.
Brother, hurry. We shall take care of things. You needn't worry.
Gently, sir, gently. Stay right where you are. No need for haste. Your lodging isn't far. You're off to prison by order of the prince.
Your villainy is now at last complete, since this means my total ruin and defeat.
You needn't try to provoke me. It's no use. Those who serve heaven must expect abuse.
You are indeed most patient, sweet, and blameless.
How he exploits the name of heaven. It's shameless.
Your taunts and mockeries are all for naught. To do my duty is my only thought.
Your love of duty is most meritorious, and what you've done is little short of glorious.
All deeds are glorious, madam, which obey the sovereign prince who sent me here today.
I rescued you when you were destitute. Have you forgotten that, you thankless brute?
No, I well remember everything. But my first duty is to serve my king. That obligation is so paramount that other claims beside it do not count. And for it I would sacrifice my wife, my family, my friend, or my own life.
Hypocrite! All that we revere he uses to cloak his plots and camouflage his ruses.
If you are animated by pure and loyal zeal, as you have stated, if he is a traitor, as you declare, why should you condescend to be his heir?
Drive you both out of this.
Sir, spare me all this clamor. It's growing shrill. Please carry out your orders, if you will.
Yes, I've delayed for too long, sir. Thank you kindly. You know, you're just the right person to remind me. Come, we are off to join the other boarders in the king's prison, according to his orders.
Who? I, sir?
Yes.
To prison? This can't be true.
Yes, I owe an explanation, but not to you. Sir, rest easy and be grateful, for we serve a prince to whom all sham is hateful, a prince who sees into our inmost hearts and cannot be fooled by any trickster arts. His royal soul, though generous and human, views all things with discernment and acumen. His sovereign reason is not lightly swayed, and all his judgments are discreetly made. He honors righteous men of every kind, and yet his zeal for virtue is not blind. Nor does his love of piety numb his wits and make him tolerant of hypocrites. The king soon recognized Tartuffe as one notorious by another name, who done so many vicious crimes, one could fill 10 volumes with them and be writing still. But to be brief, our sovereign was appalled by this man's treachery towards you, calling it the last worst villainy of a vile career, and bade me to follow the imposter here, to see how gross his impudence could be, and force him to restore your property. Your private papers, by the king's command, I hereby seize and give into your hand.
Heaven be praised!
I breathe again at last!
We're safe!
I can't believe the danger's past.
Traitor, now you see that I am
Brother, please. Let's not descend to such indignities. Leave the poor wretch to his miserable fate, and do nothing to exacerbate his current woes, but rather hope that he will soon embrace an honest piety, and mend his ways, and by a show of true repentance, move our just king to moderate his sentence. Well, meanwhile, go and kneel before your sovereign throne, and thank him for the mercies that he has shown.
That's well said, brother. Let us go at once and gladly kneeling, express the gratitude that all are feeling. And now that that great duty has been done, we turn with pleasure to a second one, to give Molière, whose love has proven so true, the wedded happiness that is his due. If men were wise, our tale might end this way, with joy and dance. But though it hurts to say, too often men neglect to turn their souls to reason, and imposters take control.